just received confirmation. NC State still not back to full strength. Only 9 guys dressed and available to play today. DJ Funderburk, the big man, and the freshman Cam Hayes, the notable absences for the Wolfpack. Campbell in black, NC State in white. Our officials this afternoon, Bill Covington, Ramey Steins, and Justin Porterfield, as we are underway in PNC Arena. NC State starts with the possession as they open the first time. You look at the starting 5. This is the first time playing at PNC Arena so far this season. They go right to Bates. Everything but the finish there for the sophomore. Take a look at the Campbell starting 5. They remain unchanged to the team that lost to Elon, the Fighting Camels' first loss of the season. Pull up, pop, and it goes down. A great start for the Fighting Camels on the road.
And anytime you play against NC State, you have to be mindful of their steals. They want to try to pressure you, create some turnovers, then get out in transition. You're right, that's a great start for Campbell.
Every starter for NC State played more than 34 minutes of some tired legs on a quick turnaround for the Wolfpack. That rattles in and out, no good. Austin McCullough on the 3 attempt. Devin Daniels weaving through the Campbell's defense, and he's called for an offensive foul. It was McCullough who got back for the charge. Kevin Keats not happy with that. Keats in year number 4, 3 straight seasons with 20 or more wins to start his NC State tenure.
Well, it's just impressive what he's been able to do. Most times teams, when you're taking over a program, you don't get to that number as quickly as he has. And I'll say it again, 3 straight seasons with 20 or more wins. Pretty impressive what he's done thus far with this NC State program.
And now playing shorthanded again without DJ Funderburk or Cam Hayes. 2 big pieces of this Wolfpack team. Jericho Helms, pull up, pop, doesn't fall.
For NC State, when you're playing against Campbell, they run a Princeton-style offense, so backdoor cuts and movement is going to be something we're going to watch throughout this game. They do an excellent job running their offense.
Opening 4 possessions for the Wolfpack, 2 turnovers, and still looking for points in the early going. Wide open 3, Braxton Beverly can't knock it down. McCullough dishes it off, blocked. And was it Manny Bates who got a piece of that? Because if it was, that would mean block number 100. Still waiting for the official stat there. Might have been 2 guys on NC State who got a piece of it.
I believe it was Bates, and we talked about him at the open, a guy that can impact the game with his defense. It's just remarkable the numbers he's put up.
And Bates there again. We did get confirmation that was block number 100. Fastest ACC player to 100 career blocks in more than 20 years. And on the other end, Jericho Helms opens the scoring for the Wolfpack.
And again, to go back to Manny Bates, although he won't get credit for a block on that previous possession, you might as well call it a block because he changed and altered the shot. And that's what he brings to this NC State team. Elite rim protector.
Cedric Henderson Jr. contested shot misses. That's now 6 straight misses for Campbell after making the opening shot of the game. Helms tries a 3. That rattles in and out, no good.
Well, I think the strategy for NC State needs to be getting the ball into the paint as we take a look at a charge. Well, on their first possession, they went down low to Bates. He wasn't able to score, but I think you got to continue to try to pound the ball down low in the paint.
There's Kevin McGeehan in year number 8 as head coach of the Fighting Camels. They won the Big South regular season in 2019, but Coach McGeehan only has 3 players left from the roster that won the league 2 years ago. So trying to get it done with a much different team. A foul called on the floor, and we've only got 4 points, 4 minutes into it. Just getting started in Raleigh on the ACC network.
Our new house is amazing. Great street, huge yard.
There is a bit of an issue with our neighbor's fencing.
We just saw Manny Bates block his 100th career block to find the only 2 guys to do it faster in the ACC's history. You got to go back to Georgia Tech's Alvin Jones in 1998, and then before that, Tim Duncan in 1986. We wanted to show you the transformation that Manny Bates has made as he's compiled those 100 blocks. This is him a year ago, and now, Malcolm, he has completely changed his body, and it is paying dividends in a big way as he leads the country in block shots.
I mean, just wow. When you look at that transformation, we spoke with Kevin Keach yesterday, and he just said, look, I've been so impressed by the work that he has put in, and I'm not surprised by the block shot number. I think the big surprise for them, though, has been the improved offensive numbers for Manny Bates. Last season only averaged 5 points a game. He's up in double digits this season.
And anytime your name gets mentioned with Tim Duncan in terms of accomplishing anything on a basketball court, you know you're doing something pretty special.
It's been elite in terms of the defensive efficiency that he's put up and what he provides on the back end of that NC State defense.
And you think about what he's had to go through in his personal basketball career. He missed nearly 1,000 days between his junior year of high school and making his NC State debut last season. Missed his senior year of high school, then redshirted for the Wolfpack in his first year in Raleigh. So he gets the feed inside, splits a double team. Did he beat the shot clock, Manny Bates? That is the question. The officials will take a look at this, but when you look at Manny Bates' story, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better one with everything he's battled through and now playing the best basketball of his career.
And Kevin Keats and staff said, look, he's finally healthy. They had to manage his workload last year. Even lifting was a struggle with his shoulder. And again, this year, finally healthy. And obviously, you can see the improved numbers and obviously the physique, the transformation that he made during his offseason.
Would love to get another look at this. We were just talking about him, and for good reason, after he made some history already in this game on the defensive end. As you said, Malcolm, you just pointed out a minute ago, he's really worked on his offensive game, but did he get this shot off? It was a great move in the post to split 2 defenders. Just don't know if it left his hands before it hit zeros.
And I think the big key for NC State in this game, they have not had success from the perimeter, but I think getting the ball down low in the paint, this is a patient possession right here. Ran a high ball screen and then dove Manny Bates down to low to the bottom. Great post position. It's tough right there from that angle. It almost is too difficult to tell whether or not it was still in his hand. It happened so fast, but nonetheless, certainly was good offense by NC State. Now the question is were they able to get it off in time?
The official underneath the basket called it a good bucket in real time. So I guess the question is there enough evidence to truly overrule that Manny Bates still had his fingers on the ball when there were zeros on the shot clock? And we are told the basket will stand. So paying off a great story about Manny Bates and his transformation and overcoming the injuries here in NC State with 2 points underneath.
This is the key right here for Campbell against NC State, handling their full court pressure. And as I said, they're one of the most efficient offensive teams in the Big South.
Ricky Clemens on the drive, floats one over the reaching hand of Manny Bates, and it drops home. First bucket in more than 4.5 minutes for Campbell.
Beautiful move by Clemens that time. Body control, used his leverage, and then got it up over Manny Bates. Excellent spacing by Campbell.
Ellam's left open, but can't cash in.
Watch the backdoor cuts of Campbell, and then their spacing on offense. Again, clean look. They came into this game averaging 84 points a game, and they're 8th nationally, shooting 54% from the floor. So a very efficient offensive team, and I think the key number for them early on, Jay, they've been good on the defensive glass.
And NC State fires right back in front. Shaquille Moore, the freshman, makes his first shot of the game. Ellam strips it away on the other end, and that'll be a jump ball. Now remember, this is a Wolfpack team that played late on Thursday night in St. Louis. It was their first game since December 3rd, so a 2-week layoff. And they only have 9 guys to play with, Kevin Keats' team. So how will the quick turnaround with some tired legs, every starter played 34 minutes or more, handle this Campbell team today? Jesus Carolero darts into the lane, puts it up and in.
Another beautiful move. Again, because their spacing, Campbell is so excellent on offense. The help is late because they're spread out all over the floor. And then they're showing some three-quarter court pressure, and then they're dropping back into a 3-2 zone.
Devin Daniels for 3, can't hit it. And they rule it Campbell basketball underneath.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it looks like they changed it back to NC State ball. Yeah, Allums gives it right back with the travel.
When we spoke with Kevin Keats, we asked him about the time off, and obviously everybody dealing with the ups and downs of COVID, and certainly it impacted him. Obviously 9 players that you've talked about, and it certainly seems like there's going to be some fatigued legs.
Count it, plus the foul. A great feed inside, and the Lithuanian freshman Gedimis Motsekis gets the hoop in the arm.
A beautiful backdoor cut by Motsekis, and this is the thing right here, Jay. Backdoor cuts, again, they're going to try to use NC State's aggression in the passing lane, and then they're going to set up backdoor cuts. That's something that NC State has to be mindful of all game long against Campbell.
You mentioned the tired legs that NC State has. Well, St. Louis ended that game on Thursday on a 32-14 run. Only traveled 9 guys to play the Billikens, and only have the same 9 available today against Campbell, and it's a 2-point lead early for the Fighting Camels. Take a look at the minutes that this Wolfpack team played on Thursday, way above their season average.
And those starters, guys that played all those minutes, as we take a look at a beautiful backdoor cut, had a day off yesterday, really just got some shots up, and Kevin Keats was concerned about the fatigue factor. So again, not much running. They just put some shots up once they got inside PNC Arena.
As a former player, Malcolm, what was the key to the quick turnaround, the back-to-backs?
Well, again, they're young. I wish I could be that young again. But I think the big thing is, and as Kevin Keats talked about, he got a chance to watch some film with them. Again, he didn't want to make any excuses. He didn't want to hear anything about fatigue or lack of practice time. He said, look, I just think our guys didn't play well. And again, we needed to get into the gym, get some shots up. But I think the biggest thing is getting the film room and kind of go over some of the mistakes that he felt were being made in that St. Louis game.
Another turnover for NC State. That's now 4 in this first half. The Fighting Camels are 4 for their last 4. Trying to make it 5 for 5 here. Denied by Manny Bates. There's a reason why he's the top block getter in the country. Now the officials have paused the game to take a look at something at the monitor. Well, while the officials take a look at the monitor, we will step aside. It's 11-11 here between NC State and Campbell. Manny Bates making some history in the block department today. The sophomore continuing to get it done for the Wolfpack.
Hey, yo, welcome to the new Chris Paul workout show. If you want to make it to the NBA, you got to have a killer cross.
Before the break, the officials stopped mid-play because the shot clock reset on a Manny Bates block when it should not have. So it'll start with Campbell basketball in 13 seconds on that shot clock. Great takeaway by the Wolfpack. They look to score in transition. Here's Devin Daniels. Lofts it up for Manny Bates. And it's Campbell basketball. 5th turnover in the first 9 minutes for NC State. Great day for college basketball on the ACC network. After us, you got Buffalo at Syracuse at 6, and then nightcap UCF against number 15 Florida State. Just a great sports day in general. You got the ACC championship at football going on right now. 3 great basketball games on the network, so get that remote ready to go. This is Jordan Whitfield on the drive. Feeds it off for an easy 2. Josh Lucane cashes in and puts Campbell back up by 2.
And that's how you attack a rim protector. Go right into him, see if you can draw him away, and then dish to his guy. And early on, Campbell has controlled the pace and limited their turnovers. Right here, Manny Bates trying to do a dribble handoff. Yeah, again, just moved his body in, and that's certainly a foul that you do not want to see Manny Bates pick up. Trying to set a ball screen.
NC State now has 6 turnovers on only 5 made baskets. That's not a good combination. Contested 3 goes begging. Devin Daniels draws the foul. Daniels had a rare off game against St. Louis on Thursday night. 5 of 16 from the floor, 0 for 6 from 3, and he fouled out.
And Kevin Keats talked about those numbers. Again, guys are a little out of rhythm. I think that's what he needs to do. Continue to try to get the ball going towards the basket. Don't settle for jumpers where you've struggled early on. Try to get yourself to the lane or to the free throw line.
10 minutes into the first half, and it's the first time that the Wolfpack find themselves at the foul line today. Helms makes the first.
Now NC State goes to a 2-2-1 full court press.
Great drive, just right into the teeth of that NC State defense, and another foul called against the rim protector Manny Bates. That's his second foul in about 2 minutes.
And so often when you go up against a shot blocker like Manny Bates, guys try to fade away or avoid the contact. Campbell right now early on is doing a nice job attacking his body, trying to go right at him, either try to get a foul, draw him, and then dish off to whoever it is he's guarding. Excellent game plan early on by Campbell.
So Bates subs out with 2 fouls, 2 blocks, and 2 points. So Campbell's done an excellent job of the first 10 minutes of this game, controlling the tempo and taking NC State out of rhythm.
And now they go back to man-to-man, but it's almost like a zone where they're packing it in. They're allowing anything to go on the perimeter for NC State in terms of perimeter jumpers, but they're closing off the lane and not allowing much dribble penetration.
Another turnover. That's now 7 in this first half for the Wolfpack. Seconds to shoot. This is Ricky Clements. Pass off deep 3. Thompson. No good. Coast to coast taking it. Rims out for the freshman Shaquille Moore. Everything but the finish there. And nobody there to protect the rim with Manny Bates out of the game. Gidemis Moksekis cashes in, and it's a 4-point lead for the Fighting Camels. Timeout, Kevin Keats. And Campbell has come into PNC Arena and grabbed a lead in this first half.
People love the Hurricane, the #1 selling cane from coast to coast.
I love my Hurricane.
I love how secure I feel with my Hurricane.
They love how
its team has come into the Wolfpack's home, and in their first game in PNC Arena, Malcolm Huckabee, what has Campbell done to take the Wolfpack out of their rhythm in this first half?
Started with their defense. They're not giving up any dribble penetration at all. They're allowing North Carolina State to shoot from the perimeter. Then offensively, they've been patient, and then they've run their offense backdoor cuts, and they're getting high percentage shots early on.
Another offensive foul. That one goes against Jericho Helms.
And you can see, Jay, again, they have 2-3 bodies in the paint every time NC State tries to dribble drive. They are not allowing anything or any shots in the key area. Right now, NC State, they're going to have to either be a little bit more patient or start knocking down some perimeter jumpers, because right now, Campbell is just packing it in, daring them to shoot from the perimeter.
The Wolfpack came into the afternoon only turning the ball over 9.7 times a game. They already have 8, and we still have more than 8 minutes left in this first half. 8 turnovers, only 5 made baskets, and that is not a winning combination. And Campbell continues to capitalize. Josh Lucane rocks the rim, and it's the largest lead of the game, 6 for the Fighting Camels. Braxton Beverly, tough take for 2.
Much needed bucket for NC State. That was one of the few times they were able to get inside. A heads up play by Beverly, but the problem now has been defensively. Campbell has been able to execute and then get high percentage shots, and it's all set up by their spacing and then backdoor cuts.
Lucane tries a 3 and he hits it. Josh Lucane, the sophomore, back-to-back baskets to put Campbell up 7. Well, don't look now, but Josh Lucane and the Fighting Camels giving NC State everything they can handle. A dunk, then a three, and the Fighting Camels leading by 7.
Guys, how
does NC State cut into this lead, Malcolm?
Well, they need more of that.
One way.
Yeah, they need more of that right there. Patience, get the ball in the key. But I think the turnovers have been an issue. They have 8 turnovers right now in the first half, and credit what Campbell has done. They packed it in, and then they forced some turnovers against this NC State offense.
And that time it was NC State creating the turnover instead of falling victim to it. Devin Daniels passes out of the double team. Wide open lane. Jalen Gibson drove right into it, but another offensive foul. That's now 3 charges taken by Campbell this afternoon and 9 turnovers for the Wolfpack.
And that's one right there. Gibson needs to come to a jump stop jumper. Defense is waiting right there. Either that's got to be a kick out or a little jump stop floater. Again, Campbell doing a nice job throwing bodies in front of NC State players every time they try to drive the ball to the hole.
Devin Daniels ripped that one away, takes it right to the rim, but he missed it. Now a triple team on Helms. He throws it into traffic. It's knocked away.
Well, this has been the story of the first half. Right here, again, looks like they're going to have a wide open dunk, and excellent recovery and block.
Beverly high off the glass, doesn't fall.
Now the question becomes, how long does Coach Keats leave Manny Bates on the bench?
Another takeaway. This time it's Beverly. Kick out. Daniels a 3. Can't knock it down. Wide open. That's a shot Devin Daniels usually hits.
Look at the spacing that Campbell has on offense.
A wide open lane. He missed the dunk, though. Cedric Henderson Jr. couldn't slam it home. Back the other way. Miss on the other end. Daniels there for the offensive rebound. And finally, he puts it off the window and in.
That's great work by Daniels on the offensive glass in transition. Again, that's going to be NC State's, I believe, formula in this game. They're struggling shooting the ball from the perimeter. Get stops on defense and then get out in transition and crash the offensive glass.
And one, Jordan Whitfield, the Raleigh native, gets the bucket and the foul.
Well, right now, again, that's just a dribble drive, a poor defense by Helms, and then you compound it by with a reach and foul. Help is late.
Played his high school basketball 8 miles down the road from NC State's campus at Millbrook High School. Foul called on the rebound against Carolero. Helms left open, and he hits it. Much needed bucket for Jericho Helms.
That might have been one of their best offensive possessions in the first half. Ball went left to right. Nice dribble drive baseline. by Beverly. Extra pass for an open jumper.
Whitfield too much on that pass, looking for Carolero. Campbell still leading by 3 as we step aside. NC State trying to get over the hump. The Huddle on ACC Network. Nobody covers the ACC like we do. You can join the guys right after the completion of Syracuse and Buffalo on the ACC Network. Right now it's Clemson 7, Notre Dame 3 at the end of the first quarter over on ABC. NC State's having trouble right now. Campbell controlling a 3-point lead nearing halftime. The Wolfpack playing with only 9 guys available to them today. 5 players missing. DJ Funderburk and Cam Hayes, the notable absences. And it's the same 9 guys that traveled to St. Louis and just played 2 nights ago on the road. So Kevin Keats' program with some tired legs and now in a dogfight with a Campbell team that is looking to put the Wolfpack on upset alert this afternoon.
And when we spoke with Kevin Keats, he said, look, I don't want to make any excuses. He didn't want to hear anything about tired leg or us being shorthanded, but certainly, Jay, it has impacted how they've played early on, and obviously the way they want to play. They don't have much depth.
Before that St. Louis game on Thursday night, Kevin Keats' team had not played in a game since December 3rd. Again, a game against UMass. So you go 2 weeks without playing to now 2 games in 48 hours. You take a look at the 5 games that were postponed or canceled in that time, and tired legs, rusty legs, a combination of the 2, and only 9 players available as NC State battling with 3 minutes left in this first half. McCullough in the corner. He hits the 3. Austin McCullough, the senior, buries the triple.
That's a huge one. Looked like Campbell was stalling a little bit offensively.
And Jarrett Cole Helms immediately answers. That's what you need if you're NC State. Just punch right back.
It is, and I think, again, continue to pressure. Obviously, we've talked about the depth issues, but this is who NC State is. They want to try to wear you down.
And a foul called inside. Cedric Henderson Jr. heads to the line. Henderson Jr., the son of Cedric Henderson, who played in the NBA for the Warriors and the Cavaliers.
And the coaching staff of Campbell really rave about what he brings to the table. Very good passer. Guy that they're going to depend on a lot, though, to score some points for him. That last game against Elon, 12 points, 4 boards, and certainly one of the better players in the Big South.
Straight to the rack in attack mode. Devin Daniels ties it at 28. Seconds left in the half. The Wolfpack looking for their first lead since it was 9-8. Beverly off the rim. How about that for an assist? Oh, Darian Sebron in perfect position to grab that ball and hammer it home.
Well, the question is, does Beverly get the assist for that one right there, or does the rim? But it's been that type of first half. But if you're Kevin Keach, you have to be pleased for as poorly as you've played. Your team now is up 2, and certainly something that they needed that last bucket. They need to have anything positive going into the second half.
Shot clock ticking down, 2 on the timer. Clemens doesn't realize it, and that's a shot clock violation.
Well, this right here again, I'm not sure if he's going to get an assist for that, but a needed break for NC State. Beverly was trying to kick that ball out to the opposite corner, and they finally get a bounce that goes their way.
Here's Thomas Allen, blocked from behind. Transfer from Nebraska has been quiet in this first half. And a timeout taken by Campbell. North Carolina State on a 15-6 run as halftime looms near. What's been the difference in the way the Wolfpack has played during this run, Malcolm?
Well, they've just been resilient. I think, you know, they've shot the ball poorly in the first half. You look at it, they were 2 of 8 right now from the three-point line, 25%, 44 from the floor. But their defense, they've stayed relentless defensively, and then they've been able to get stops, get out in transition, and get some easy buckets. I think that's been the key for them, because obviously they have not shot the ball well in the first half.
And if you're the Camels of Campbell and Kevin McGee, and you have played really well in this first half to go into halftime in a one-possession game if they can get a stop here.
Yeah, again, they've played well. They've had some really nice offensive possessions. Limited, obviously, any second chance points for NC State. They've got Manny Bates in foul trouble early on in this game. So, again, you still have to feel good if you're Campbell going into the half.
10 seconds to shoot. Here's Beverly, pull up 3, rattles in and out, no good. Campbell still has 10 seconds until halftime. Henderson Jr. a 3, that's off the mark. And who did it go off of last? They say it was the Lithuanian Moksekas who touched it, and that gives the Wolfpack 2.6 seconds at the end of this first half. Well, Beverly's got range. He will heave it, and no good. So NC State takes a 2-point lead into halftime. Campbell has given the Wolfpack everything they can handle and more in this first half.
Yeah, and again, if you're NC State, you have to be pleased you're going into the half. Besides playing poorly, you still have a 2-point lead. Certainly, though, they're going to have to shoot the ball better in the second half. If you're Campbell, you're going to have to tighten it up with some of the turnovers that you had late in the first half.
Well, NC State undermanned, only 9 guys dressed and available, and clinging to a 2-point lead at the break, closing out the half on a 15-6 run.
When we started our business, we were paying like an arm and a leg.
Manny Bates and North Carolina State ready to start this second half against Campbell. Credit the Camels, they led for much of that first half. A big reason why Manny Bates was off the floor from the 10:30 mark. So the sophomore back on with 2 fouls as we are underway in this second half, and the Wolfpack starts with the basketball. Thomas Allen leaves that 3 short. Bates there for the follow, put in for 2.
Excellent offensive possession. Beverly, nice dribble drive baseline, and then Bates on the offensive glass Jay, I'm going to say it again. I think that's where they need to attack. Don't settle for jumpers. Try to get the ball down low, in particular with Bates out on the court.
They certainly missed their rim protector for the final 10 minutes of the first half, but he's provided a spark this season on the offensive end as well. You just saw it there, an instant impact to start this second half.
Well, let's see if they get him a touch in the paint.
He sets the pick. Count it plus the foul. Driving right into the defense, Devin Daniels. And he'll head to the line to complete the and one.
Daniels had 6 in that first half. That's tough right there. Again, that ref's on a different angle than we're looking, so it might have been sliding over to his left. And excellent start of the second half for NC State.
And even with the missed foul shot, it's still the largest Wolfpack lead of the game at 6. Inside to Josh Lucane. That's an easy flush for the sophomore.
Well, Campbell continues to attack. Even with Bates in the game, they're drawing him off of his defender.
Daniels trying to go behind the back to Bates. Beverly there to clean it up. Great pass from Helms, unlocks Allen, who drains the 3. Thomas Allen, the Raleigh native, he will make you pay if you leave him open.
Much needed 3. Beautiful ball movement by NC State.
Let's go!
And cashing in with some great defense as well. A 9-point lead for the Wolfpack. Boy, Malcolm, this looks like a different team to start the second half.
Well, this was the concern for Campbell when we spoke with Coach McKeon yesterday. He said, look, NC State's pressure, we must handle it and limit the turnovers.
ACC football championship going on right now. Some great basketball all around the country, including 2 more games on the ACC network after us. Syracuse and Buffalo. And then UCF against Florida State, the nightcap with the huddle at 8 p.m. recapping the ACC football championship. So keep it on the ACC network all day long. Malcolm Huckabee, Jay Alter with you. Campbell cuts into that 9-2 start for NC State. They have looked terrific to start this second half.
They really have. NC State, again, better ball movement, but I think that's the area, again, though, Manny Bates, they're going to get him with a hook. Wow, that is a tough break for NC State, and Kevin Keats not happy at all. Looked like Manny Bates was trying to get position. Let's see. Okay, pin down. Oh man, that's a tough call right there. He's just trying to establish post position.
And Bates missed the final 10 minutes and 30 seconds of the first half after he picked up his 2nd foul. That's his 3rd. And Kevin Keats is furious with the turnovers. You see the 4th-year head coach slap the floor after Helms gave that one away. And the 11th turnover of the game for the Wolfpack. That's 2 more than their season average. Anderson Jr. pull-up 3 short. Bounces out to Helms. He's the game's leading scorer with 13. He lost it again. That's a 12th turnover. Campbell trying to capitalize, and they do. Count it plus the foul. Ricky Clemens coming up huge for the Camels.
Well, off the defense right here. Again, poor decision. Turnover, they're off, and then this is just great body control, little Euro step, and then finish with the left hand. That's a tough finish through contact for Clemens.
And Ricky Clemens, no relation to Chris Clemens, who of course is a legend in Campbell's program. His number 3 already retired for the Fighting Camels.
And Ricky Clemens started off as a walk-on and earned a scholarship last season and continues to impress with his play.
He grew up in Rolesville, North Carolina, 18 miles away from North Carolina State, so a bit of a homecoming for Ricky Clemens. And his Camels are fighting here, down by 6. After that made basket by Helms, he's up to 15. Wolfpack have made their last 5 baskets in a row. And a charge called against Henderson Jr. A push off. Helms was there to get in front of it.
Well, Helms getting it done on both ends. Offensively, you talked about his numbers. That's just great footwork and sliding of the feet.
Did you know that Geico's whole 15 minutes thing?
The Wolfpack playing well to start the second half. Jericole Helms, the junior, leading the way. He's got a game-high 15, and he's getting it done on the defensive end as well. Just drew the charge right before the break.
And he's been the one bright spot for NC State. As you said, getting it done on both ends. And, boy, they needed all of his 15 points in this one. Let's see how they close it out. I still say they need to attack the key. Don't settle for jumpers.
Right inside, Manny Bates rocks the rim.
That's where their advantage is, and beautiful execution offensively that time. Out of the double team, extra pass, unselfish.
McCullough 3, that's off the mark. The Wolfpack have made their last 6 baskets. Looking for 7, it would have been, but the rim got in the way of Bates before he could slam it home.
That's a missed opportunity. Bates is open.
3-on-2, Daniels straight to the rack. Devin Daniels at NC State has a 10-point lead.
Oh, this is danger zone right here for Campbell. Again, NC State has sped this game up with their pressure and then have been able to get stops and get out in transition to get some easy buckets.
Foul off the ball. And is that going against Manny Bates? Wow, if so, that's his 4th.
Again, they look like they called. Yeah, it looks like he called a hip. He moved his, and that's another big call against Manny Bates. And something Kevin Keats talked about. Look, we have to keep him out of foul trouble. Obviously, we talked about the rim protection, one of the best in the country, but can ill afford to pick up those type fouls.
Well, you never want Manny Bates to pick up quick fouls like he has today, but I think it's even more important with DJ Funderburk, the other big man, unavailable today for the Wolfpack. He would normally be the guy to come in at that center position, and instead, Wolfpack are left pretty bare at the big man spot.
Yeah, really, we've referenced this. 9 players as you take a look at Manny Bates, his production on the bench. So Kevin Keats limited with his options.
Right now it's the freshman Sebron in there, and he'll head to the foul line. The first trip to the foul line for Darion Sebron today. Freshman out of Norfolk, Virginia. It's a really talented freshman class that Kevin Keats has brought in. Sebron is a freshman because of her red shirt, but he joins Cam Hayes, Shaquille Moore, Jalen Gibson in a class that, as they continue to develop, shows that the future is very bright here in Raleigh.
Kevin Keats and staff have done an amazing job recruiting, and then to go along with the player development. We talked about Manny Bates, the progress that he has made. So again, the numbers are there as well too for Kevin Keats.
Both of these teams freshman heavy. You see Campbell has 8 freshmen on Kevin McGeehan's team. Thomas Allen checks back into the game. Wolfpack on a 7-0 run over the last 2 minutes and change. They have made 7 of their last 8 baskets as they've really picked it up on the offensive end. Jericho Helms, the big reason why, right on cue, knocks down that jumper, and he's up to 17 points on the afternoon.
Beautiful out of bounds underneath execution, little brush screen, and he continues to shoot the ball well.
Almost another turnover there for Campbell. The defensive intensity is picked up for the Wolfpack, and the run has followed. A 9-0 run now. Largest lead of the game of 13 for the Wolfpack. And you said it's a danger zone for Campbell. This game's starting to slip away from the Camels. Helms looks inside, finds Shaquille Moore for the easy layup.
Well, the pressure really starting to impact Campbell and what they're doing. The offensive execution in the second half has not been there like it was in the first. NC State really forcing their will on them.
In the second half, the Wolfpack have shot it 9 of 11. Another turnover, but a charge called. Shaquille Moore couldn't cash in on that takeaway.
Well, you like the aggression by the freshman. This one right here, though, pull it out if you don't have anything. Again, you're trying to make a Euro step. Not enough room to do that again. You've forced a turnover, and in that case, you want to keep possession. You have a 15-point lead. Last thing you want to do is give the ball right back to Campbell.
This was a 2-point game at halftime, and now NC State's opened it up to 15. Again, 9 of 11 shooting in the second half. Campbell struggling, particularly from 3. They're 2 of 12 from deep. 4 seconds to shoot. Whitfield drives the lane, floaters an air ball. Daniels from the corner, can't connect. And a foul called. So NC State really comfortable in this second half. They've opened up a 15-point lead against Campbell.
Most jeans are made for average bodies, but there's no such thing as an average person.
Devin Daniels and Jericho Helms had rare off games Thursday night against St. Louis, and Malcolm, both guys have bounced back brilliantly against Campbell this afternoon.
Yeah, Helms is definitely the guy in that game. St. Louis had 6 points, 2 of 9 from the floor, really struggled tonight. Really different story. He has been key for NC State offensively.
He leads the way with 17, commits the foul there, though. And interestingly, that was a homecoming for Helms in St. Louis. Grew up there in Missouri, went to Chaminade College Prep, where he was 3rd on the school scoring list behind 2 pretty good guys, Jason Tatum and Bradley Beal. So that's not bad company.
Yeah, now a very talented player. And, you know, again, all these players now, when we speak to all these coaches, I think lack of consistency is going to be a theme early on in the season because of the lack of really consistent playing time and practice time. And that really has been what NC State and Kevin Keats and their coaching staff has been dealing with leading up to this season early on.
No doubt it's plagued so many teams across the country, but you take a look at what the Wolfpack have had to deal with, and I think they underscore it. You know, you don't play since December 3rd, nearly 2 weeks off, 5 games canceled and postponed in a 17-day span. And then you only have 9 guys available on the road against a really good St. Louis team. Only 9 guys available again today, less than 48 hours later, and they've somehow managed to make it work. In large part, as you said, Hallam's having a huge day. And 9 guys available, and it almost feels like 8 with Manny Bates being out with much of the first half with 2 fouls. Now he's on the bench with 4 fouls. And yet, NC State making it work, especially as of late. They're on an 11-1 run over the last 5 minutes.
And they're going to be a team that when they're back at full strength, they are a very dangerous team, a team that I think could make a lot of noise in the ACC, and certainly if they're in the NCAA tournament.
Great effort inside. Jared Cole-Helms will not be denied.
What a bounce back game this has been for him. He has been dominant. And Jay, the thing I like about it, you can tell his offense really has spurred his defense. He has been solid defensively for NC State.
Campbell can't hit anything right now. 2 of 13 from 3 now. They have let this game slip away. It was a 2-point game at halftime. But Kevin Keats' crew is starting to open this up and run away with it in the second half.
I think the key word, relentless. They have pursued Campbell with their defensive pressure relentlessly throughout this game, and it is now starting to wear this team out.
It's interesting. Manny Bates went on the bench 6 minutes ago with that 4th foul. In that time, Campbell has not made a single basket. No field goals in the last 6 minutes and 10 seconds for the Camels. Nice triple for Shaquille Moore. The freshman nails his 2nd of the afternoon.
Campbell went to a 3-2 zone, tried to change up and give NC State a different look defensively, and that worked in the first half, and it's been a different story in the second half offensively though for NC State.
Wolfpack shooting 73% in the second half, 11 of 15. Campbell just looking for something. Another shot goes begging. They are just 1 for their last 10.
What a block out though by Braxton Beverly, giving up a lot of size, was still able to come up with the defensive board.
Here's Beverly for 3. He's got it. Braxton Beverly getting it done on both ends, and it's all Wolfpack in the second half.
Nobody on the offensive glass for Campbell.
The Camels are just 1 of their last 11. NC State on a 19-1 scoring run over the last 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Looking for more, but off the fingertips of Sebron. Coming up after us, we will send you to Central New York. Buffalo taking on Syracuse, and then the huddle at 8 to recap the ACC championship game on the gridiron, and then UCF taking on number 15 Florida State at 9 o'clock. All coming up right here on the ACC Network. Manny Bates back into the game with 4 fouls. Campbell only has 8 points, make it 10 in this second half. And that is their first basket in nearly 8 minutes. 7 minutes and 48 seconds without a made field goal until that score.
Well, credit NC State and their pressure, D. And it really has been the difference for their offense. They've created a lot of offense with excellent defense in the second half, NC State.
Shaquille Moore and Thomas Allen might not show up in the box score, but those two have been really excellent, keeping the ball alive, playing strong defense. Allen there with a good hustle play to keep this possession going. Bates playing with 4 fouls, has to be careful, kind of leans off, and Henderson Jr. can capitalize.
A heads-up play by Henderson, going right at Bates, knowing that he had a foul trouble, and also heads up by Bates, not picking up another foul.
A 19-1 run during that sequence has NC State up comfortably at 18-point lead.
At some point in their life, 52% of all men will experience erectile dysfunction, but most of them never get treated.
Team up comfortably over Campbell, 58-40. Malcolm Huckabee, Jay Alter with you. You take a look at the last 3 seasons under Keats, Malcolm, and they have been squarely on that bubble. They got in his first year, just left off his second year. Some people thought it was a snub. And then we talked to Joe Lunardi this week, Malcolm, you did, and he said if there was a bracket, he had NC State projected as the last 4 in.
A phenomenal job. I mean, we talked about it, what Kevin Keats has been able to do with this NC State program and how he's done it so fast. 3 years in a row, over 20 wins. And last season, I think it's a shame because they were playing some good ball. And obviously, they had a matchup after their first win in the ACC tournament. But again, Kevin Keats has this thing going in the right direction, and really a phenomenal job by him and his staff.
And he took over in difficult circumstances. This was not kind of an easy project, and yet to get into the tournament in that first year gave a lot of Wolfpack fans hope that they were trending in the right direction. Unfortunate to miss out barely in his second season, and then we don't know what could have happened if they get into the tournament, maybe make a run a year ago. But this team returns a lot of those guys: Devin Daniels, Braxton Beverly, Manny Bates, DJ Funderburg. Yeah, a lot of people would think that they get into the tournament this year, and yet you talk to Joe Lunardi and he says nope, they'll probably be right around the bubble again like they've been the last 3 years.
Well, I think this year it's so early again. What Joe, I think like any person doing bracketology this year, there is so many things that are going to be going on. Teams playing without key players, obviously games missed because of cancellation. So this year Joe used the old-fashioned, we're going to use a lot of common sense, and it's going to be a very difficult task for them. Not that it's ever easy any year, but I think this year more than ever with COVID cancellations, players out, good luck to him and his crew trying to figure that one out.
The good news for ACC teams like NC State is you have the opportunity to gain some quality wins, because we just showed you the schedule. Pretty much every opponent is a quality game.
Well, I think ever more so this year, every game counts, because your opportunities could be less, again, because of cancellations, or you know, you're dealing with a situation where you're without key pieces. You look at NC State today as we take a look at a beautiful duck in by Manny Bates. They have 9 players. I mean, Kevin Keats has really not many options to go to on his bench. So this year really is just going to be one of those years where it's, I think, going to change almost daily.
And now all 9 available players have played in the game, as Nick Farrar has checked in, number 30 in white and red. Made his first career basket while we were talking about what Joe Lunardi had to say about the Wolfpack.
Manny Bates at the line, really a phenomenal story in terms of player development and also just a transformation. Last year, guy averaged 5 points a game. This year, he's up at double digits, and we talked about the blocks. One of the best, if not the best, rim protector in college basketball right now.
Earlier in the game, became the fastest ACC player to 100 career blocks in more than 20 years. The only two guys in the ACC to do it faster, Georgia Tech's Alvin Jones, and then Tim Duncan before that.
Wow.
1-on-1, guys, 1-on-1. Good, big guy. 1-on-1, guys, 1-on-1. 1-on-1. Catch over here.
And even though it's a 20-point game, Malcolm, this is good game experience for Bates the last few minutes and for the final 5 minutes to get experience playing with 4 fouls.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He needs to learn how to play without fouls. I think you go to the other side for Campbell. Again, this is another opportunity for you to get ready as you hopefully get into Big South Conference play. And again, they had some positives early on in this game where they were able to run their offense, get some high percentage shots. I think the key for them, though, is going to be taking care of the ball when they play against pressure.
Manny Bates in perfect position for a big finish at the rim. He's a vacuum cleaner inside. Ten points, 5 rebounds for Bates, who's played much of this game in foul trouble.
One of the things that we have not talked about a lot in this game, Jay, is the lack of crowd or crowd noise. Again, NC State, one of the better venues, great fan base. These players have to adjust to this, but one thing the folks watching at home, pay attention to the communication. You can hear the NC State and also Campbell players communicating on defense. And you know, if there's young players out there watching this, again, good defensive teams, you will hear them communicating, talking to each other, talking about who's switching, help side defense and so forth. So that's, I think, one of the advantages now without having the crowds in there. You can hear these guys communicating on defense.
That's a great point, Malcolm. And, you know, obviously we all wish the fans were able to be in PNC Arena screaming their heads off. First game of the season at PNC Arena, but you try and look for the positives, and that's certainly one. Sometimes even as broadcasters, I like to lay out and listen to see what we can hear. Because I'll agree with you, NC State, one of the more active teams, especially defensively.
On this possession right here, if Campbell gets it across half court, listen to the NC State players talk on ball screens. And you certainly can hear the coaches yelling out instructions as well, too. So just a different thing to look for. When you're watching these games now, unfortunately, with empty arenas, you can hear all the communication that goes on in games.
Take a look at the stat sheet, and Campbell, where this game may have slipped away from them. You go on the road, you play an ACC team. They only shot 2 of 16 from 3. And that's just not good enough for Kevin McGeehan's group.
No, and again, early on, they were getting quality looks. I think where it turned in the second half of the NC State defense really sped them up, and then they forced them into some really difficult 2s and 3s. And that's why that percentage really got stuck below 20. Here Manny Bates communicating on that screen, letting his point guard know there's a screen coming, and then get back.
There's a rebound. Timeout taken by Kevin Keats. His team up comfortably, 65-44. Manny Bates doing it on both ends. We've seen the blocks and then an easy finish. Wolfpack up big. To the huddle as the guys break down all the ACC teams playing in a bowl game and look ahead to the college football playoff semifinals. They'll tell you everything you need to know. Selection special Sunday, 8 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow night on the ACC network. The big debate is, does Clemson and Notre Dame both get in? Right now I'm hearing over on ABC Clemson is taking it to Notre Dame, so you wonder, okay, that probably puts the Tigers in. Actually, that definitely puts the Tigers in, but if they beat them too bad, does the committee decide to not put in Notre Dame? That is the big question.
Yeah, very interesting, and obviously Clemson losing a game without their star player. Obviously, I'm glad that they still don't get penalized for that, but that's going to be a very interesting decision if Clemson does wind up winning in a blowout fashion.
And obviously it's much harder in college football. You can only take 4 teams compared to college basketball with 68. But I think the parallel can be drawn is, well, if a team on the bubble loses a game without their best player, like Trevor Lawrence and Clemson did, how can the committee penalize them when they're going to be in full strength for the playoff? And I think in basketball, you'll see the same debate kind of take play.
Same conversation I had with Joe Lunardi as you try to size up these teams as we hopefully get close to March Madness. Take, for example, an NC State team playing without arguably one of their better players. DJ Funderbank is a guy that flirted with playing in the NBA. He's not out on the court right now for Kevin Keats. He's got 9 players. They lose to a St. Louis team. Certainly, again, you don't want to take anything away from what St. Louis did, but certainly they're not at 100%. A team that barely practiced and then is without some key pieces.
And Kevin Keats knows all too well about life on the bubble. NC State has been on that bubble pretty much since he's taken over here with the Wolfpack. But it's impressive that, 3 straight seasons, 20 or more wins to start his tenure at NC State in all 3 years, especially because, he was telling us yesterday he takes the job and then 5 months later, NC State's kind of put under a cloud with the FBI announcing they're part of their recruiting violations that they're looking into that happened well before Keats' time here. And yet he doesn't use it as an excuse. He just wants to persevere, power on, and win basketball games here in Raleigh.
Well, I think that's why it's even more impressive. I think it starts with recruiting. Again, he's recruited the state well. He brought some guys back to the state. And I think the player development piece, again, you have to have those 2 things. It's key. You have to obviously recruit talented players, but then you have to develop them when they get here. And you look at what he's done with a guy like Manny Bates. Obviously the defensive intensity is there. Obviously the blocks are there, but how he has improved offensively each year, I think that's something that, again, is what's going to get them over the top and into the NCAA tournament.
Manny Bates, a North Carolina native. Jalen Gibson, Cam Hayes, Shaquille Moore, all North Carolina natives. Those are guys that Keats has recruited in. He's even brought some local guys back. Thomas Allen, a junior who committed to Nebraska, played 2 years there. He's from Raleigh originally, and Kevin Keats made a point to bring him back to continue to grow the homegrown roster. It was funny, we were talking with Kevin Keats about Allen yesterday, and he said even though he technically is the transfer, the new guy, because he's from Raleigh, he's the go-to food guy for local flavor here in Raleigh. So we asked him to put together his top 3 places he would go in Raleigh, and now he's just making me hungry. When you take a look at that, some Soul Seafood Cafe action, Lee's Kitchen, which is a Jamaican cuisine spot, and then a Japanese steakhouse to round out the top 3.
Well, top of my list next time we're back down there. I got to check out the Soul Food Cafe. The food truck Again, that's going to be top list for us right there. Mark that down. And certainly this was a much needed win for the NC State team. Bounce back from that St. Louis loss. And certainly it all started in the second half for them with the defensive intensity picking up.
NC State started the second half hitting 9 of their first 11 shots. Bounced out to a 19-1 run. And they have looked comfortable since then. This game was a 2-point game at halftime. Campbell actually led for most of that first half. But once NC State turned it on, the Wolfpack have looked really comfortable.
I think some positives if you're Campbell. Again, that first half of their execution really was really nice in terms of in the half court when they weren't turning it over. They got high quality shots. Everybody was involved in the offense. I think the one area, again, they are going to have to continue to work on as they get closer to conference play. Turnovers, in particular, against the full court pressure of NC State. That really changed the dynamic of this game.
Dish inside to Furr to cap it off.
We saw a lot of that in the first half for Campbell. I think a little bit too much pressure in the second half. And if you're Kevin Keats and NC State, you have to be pleased with how your team bounced back after the St. Louis loss. And then in the second half, they got back to playing NC State basketball, pressure ball, and then getting out in transition. Really a good performance in the second half.